Welcome guys and girls. This is the first in a series of videos where we're interviewing and chatting to prominent people within the B2R community, inspirational characters and other things, and we're affectionately calling it B2R TV. So our first guest, I'm very pleased, is Dan Fernandes, who is an osteopath, and he's been associated and working with beginners to runners right from the very early days. So, hi Dan, thanks for giving up your time.
No worries, that's a pleasure.
We did a post on Facebook. We asked for some questions, if anyone had any questions they'd like to ask you, and here are a few of them. Holly Galligan, she's a member from Leybourne, and she said she thinks she's getting, or might even have, shin splints. She's never felt pain in the front of her shins before. They really hurt. Help. What can I do?
Shin splints, basically what happens is it normally occurs with increase of demand. So when people start running too fast too soon and they don't take it easy. So when they start beginner, they see their friends that probably ahead or run better than them, and then they try to go at the same pace they are. They're pushing through their muscles a lot faster than they should. Or typically, especially now in the winter, as you know, it's hard to get warm, so it's when you will have more injuries because people are not warming up and not warming their muscles enough, and they're just going out for a run. So it's always important to do a good warm-up. Things that can prevent it is doing what I always say in all of my routines, which is after the run, well, if you're at the club, just do your stretch, but once you get home, do your foam rolling, your stretching, and if you can, just even for a couple of seconds, just a cold shower on the legs, just to decrease the inflammation. Now, to be 100% sure to know if you've got shin splints, you need to see a physician. Because it depends on the running, it depends how your foot striking. I mean, if you say that, oh, once I start running, you have pain immediately, and it doesn't go away, it could be a stress fracture. As one of the ladies there commented.
Vicky Huckle mentioned that she's had the stress fracture. I think that's the next step up from having a niggle that she didn't deal with, and then it's gone on to a stress fracture. So.
One of the things I try to enforce in all of the clubs is that if you have a niggle, talk about it to somebody. To myself, just make me a post, or to any other practitioner that you know and trust, because something that could be just a niggle can be a lot worse.
Yeah, okay. And so foam rolling, you foam roll the calf?
Yeah. So
would you foam roll on the front of your shin as well, or?
For anything, I would like to enforce that it's good to do the whole routine. So I think of any muscle, it's all fascia. So it's like your t-shirt. When you pull one end, just because it's painful, tension there, doesn't mean it's not pulling on everywhere else.
Yes.
So if you have shin splints, typically shin splints is on the medial side of your leg, so it'll be on this side, where, well, basically then you have to attach foam roll your calves, yeah, because your calves are the ones that attach up to the front. So, but you will want to do that for last. So you want to start with your calves, your hamstrings, and then your calves, and then your muscles in the front, which is tibialis anterior, and just smooth it out.
I mean, there's some videos on your website, isn't there, that you filmed for us. So if you want some tips on how to foam roll, you can easily look on Dan's website, which is
Sports Care Revolution.
So have a look at that. You should definitely be in foam rolling. As you brought up a foam roller, what's a foam roller, Dan?
Okay, so there's different types of foam rollers, and that's where everyone gets a bit muddled up, is that you can go into any store and buy one like this one will be £5, and something like this, which I recommend, which is a Trigger Point Performance, which is the one I recommend, simply because it's a lot softer. So you can feel that one, and that's really hard. And if you're a beginner, I know people don't want to invest on the money because they don't know if they're going to run or if it's going to, even the foam roller going to make any difference. But yeah, it makes a huge difference. And this one was left for me from one of my patients because he said, look, I bought this, it's useless, it's too hard, I'm going to go and buy that one.
Yes.
So might as well spend a bit more money or find it on eBay.
So how much is this one then?
This will cost you about £30.
Yes.
Sometimes, like last week, I found one for £8 on eBay.
Yeah. Because
people buy them and it's like, I'm not going to use it, I'm going to sell it.
So shop around and you'll get a good deal.
Exactly.
And what about shoes? Would changing their trainers help shin splints? Or?
Yes, if they're not having a shoe which could give them enough cushioning in their heel striking, a bit of more cushioning would benefit, definitely. To just absorb that and
because we always recommend people go to like sweatshop or somewhere similar and can do a gait test.
Yeah.
You used to do the gait test, didn't
Yes,
you?
yes, yeah.
Well, so what? Just briefly, what's involved in a gait test? What are they looking for?
Okay, so if you go to the shop, to the sweatshop, they will be telling you information. They'll typically try to get you with the most comfortable shoe. That's what a good salesman wants you to do. Because at the end of the day, you're the ones going to be running with them, and you need a comfortable trainer.
Do you need to take your current trainers with you, or
they don't need to? But I would say if you're already a runner and you like the trainer that you use and it's comfortable and you've been using it for more than a year, just continue using the same one.
Yeah. Okay.
The problem is that every year the new models, and they don't always make it exactly the same. They always put some new tech into it, which sometimes can make the shoe completely different.
Well, I've noticed that with Asics. Asics have gone so much more narrow. I used to love Asics, and they're my favourite shoes. Now I can't get warm feet because they're so narrow.
Yeah.
So they definitely, that is a problem. Then you go in, so they will put you like in a neutral shoe to start with.
Yeah,
don't
they put you in a neutral shoe, so they want to see how is your foot reacting to the floor. So their belief is that once you put your foot onto the floor, it should be completely steady and going forwards. So they will recording the back of your trainer to see if you put any pronation to the foot.
Okay, so is pronation a bad thing, or?
For me, it's not.
No.
For me, my personal opinion, and people can debate on it, is that I think that big company corporates are trying to sell you shoes with high support.
Yes.
Just to sell you shoes, because the foot's supposed to do that movement. We just look at the anatomy and the shape of the movement. For me, I mean, you know, I run with 5-finger shoes, which are something like this, which has no cushioning. I've done ultra.
There's nothing in them, is there?
Nothing into it, and
I think the key thing to take away, really, from my perspective, is shoes are not going to fix all your problems. Okay, the companies and the people like Sweatshop and stuff, they've got a job to do. They've got to sell trainers, so they're going to make you think that they're going to solve everything that ails you. They're not. They're going to support your feet. They are going to help, but you're never ever going to be pain-free and solve all your problems by spending. And the more you spend doesn't necessarily mean the better the trainer's going to be. It's about getting the right shoe, the right fit, and also having it as part of a maintenance routine, isn't it? So you need to be doing the stretches, you need to be wearing the right shoes, foam rolling, maybe taking ibuprofen if they're getting aches and pains. Do you recommend that, or?
If they're taking any type of medication, I always recommend it after the run, never before.
Okay.
Because if you're taking painkillers,
so no painkillers before you go running.
Ever.
Good, and that's a top tip. Because I know a lot of people who swallow ibuprofen and paracetamol before they go running.
I would just say like this: if you're cooking and you put your hand on the stove and you get burned, your first reaction is take it off. But if you're taking medication that you couldn't feel what you were doing with your hand would stay still, then what would happen?
You get more damage.
Exactly. So your body's telling you that you have a problem, you have an ache. Go solve it.
Yeah.
You know, there's a rule for me. So from 0 to 10, if your pain threshold, if you have it from 0 to 3, it's fine. If you have it more than 3 and it continues, you need to be seeing somebody.
Okay, that's a really good tip. Gina Lawrence. I had an injury in November, plantar fasciitis. I had to use crutches for 2 days. I'm doing the recommended exercises and bought support socks, bands, etc. And although it's much better now, I still get the occasional twinge. I'm waiting for support for my running shoes to arrive, and I've had an assessment. I really want to return as a beginner, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get to the 5K. So how can I fix this? Can you give me some advice for plantar fasciitis?
Plantar fasciitis is a big one because it affects different people different ways. You know, and sometimes it may be plantar fasciitis. I've had patients who think they have plantar fasciitis and they don't.
To get it diagnosed, they need to go to their GP or come and see an osteopath like yourself? Or...
Yeah, I mean, typically the plantar fasciitis is one of the symptoms that you would have straight in the morning. So when you wake up in the morning, when you do your first couple of steps and you can't really stretch, but by the time you get to the toilet or you go get your kettle and you got your coffee ready, your foot is better, that would be plantar fasciitis. Because what's happening during the night is that you're relaxing and the healing process begins, and then everything starts to be tighter.
Can you explain, sorry, let's rewind a bit, Dan, because not everyone knows what that is. Just can you explain in really basic terms, what is plantar fasciitis?
Take my shoe off. So basically in the bottom of the feet, what we have is just ligaments and muscle structures and tendons and everything, and they go from the bottom of the heel and they go all the way up to the top. Basically, it's just a compression through the muscles. So my theory behind it is that during the day when you're walking, everything is fine, because what happens is you're stretching your muscles all the time.
Yeah.
And when you sit down, then it's like you having a cut over your knuckle.
Yeah.
So what happens is, when you cut your knuckle right there on that joint, what's happening is it's fine when it's nice and relaxed because you're in this position.
Yeah.
At some time when you go open a door or anything,
it cracks open.
It cracks open.
So it's just like your foot. So overnight it heals, and then you move it for the first time, and it goes and it pulls again.
Yeah.
What about golf balls and things? Is that a good idea? Or?
Yeah. You can use golf balls when you're in a seated position, so you can help you with maintaining the tension, so it doesn't compress to a point where it's so painful afterwards. You can do flexibility exercises. So if you have a desk job and you can sit like this in your desk, you're typing away, you can just stretch it once in a while.
Oh, this is an interesting one from Tamsin Seawood. She's a team leader over at Snodland. She's developed a clicky knee. It doesn't hurt, but when she starts to run, it's really noisy. Is there any exercises? Is that normal? Is there anything she can do to stop it?
Okay, so a clicky knee could be due to so many things. Knee problems, they come and go, and it really depends. It depends how long she's been running for as well. The simplest thing I like to say to everybody is just use your friendly foam roller. Well,
foam roller fixes everything. So foam rollers, Dan, what do they actually do?
So
what's the point? We're rolling it up and down, it hurts loads, but you know, and I always lie to you and say I've done it when I should have done it, but can you explain why do we need to do it? What is it actually doing to my muscles? Using
the foam roller, it helps you take that lactic acid and it lets you to massage the muscle. So if you really pay attention to the way I use the foam roller, I'm using it on the orientation of the muscle. So it helps lengthen the muscle fibers.
So you're sort of stretching it back out, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Doing it gently and smoothly, so therefore it just elongates. Because what happens is, when you grow with a muscle, it breaks for it to grow. So the muscle fibers go from a stretch position to a cross position.
Yes.
Yeah. So while doing the foam roller, you're going to create more inflammation, but it's going to lengthen, especially after you do the stretching. Yeah.
Okay. And so how painful should it be? Because you can put. Is this like almost like a punishment session, or should you be keeping it? So we used that scale of 0 to 10 before, didn't we? And you said like if it's 0 to 3, carry on with your running. If it goes over that, you might need to stop. How painful should it be with the foam roller?
I would go the same, about the top 4.
Okay, so it shouldn't be agony. It should
no. But people do think no pain, no gain, right?
Yeah, but that's the thing, because people think, oh, I've got to really do this, it's got to be painful, it's making me better, but that's not the key of what you're doing.
Because then you'll be creating too much inflammation to the body, because you're bruising.
Yes.
Yeah? And when you're bruising, then you can't use the muscle. So everything has to be guided to a point where it's comfortably pain.
So it's nice and gentle with the foam roller.
So you feel that you feel the pain, but it's a good pain. It's not like I'm punching you in the face.
Yeah, you don't want agony.
Yeah, but that's what people think.
It can be, and I'm guilty for it myself, and I think, oh, I'll push and go a bit, you know, lean more weight on it and grind through the muscle a bit more, and then you don't want to do it because it hurts so much. Yeah. So I can see that.
If you want to take it to a maximum, take it up to 5 maximum.
No more than that.
No more than that. I mean,
how long should we be doing it for?
Okay. If you can really sense your own body, you can do it until a release.
Yeah.
So you'll feel the muscle go, ah. Yeah. That would be on something like if you put it on your glutes and you want to increase the tension. So I'm doing it on my glutes and I want to increase the tension, so I'll bring my foot over to the other side. And I find that spot and I go, ah. And that's called a trigger point.
Yes.
That a practitioner will be putting their thumb on you. That's the same thing.
So you move until you find a bit where it hurts a bit, and stop and hold on that for a minute, yeah?
And just hold it there, try to breathe, because if you're compressed, it's not going to help. And then you feel a bit of a release, it feels better, good. And then you just keep on rolling. Yeah. When you're just rolling overly.
So it's a bit like when you're having a massage and you find a knot, and you're trying to work the knot out of the muscle. It's sort of similar sort of concept, yeah. Did
we answer the question that she asked?
It was clicky knee. Yeah. Basically, we're not sure.
Yeah,
but a good routine would work.
Yeah, good routine. So typically, what's happening now? Just 1 second. So what happens is, for you to have a click knee, one of the reasons could be, this is your knee, okay? So this is the bone on the lateral side. What could happen would be a maltracking of your patella, which is your kneecap, which is, if the muscles are tight, and this is what I mean about, everyone's going to go through this because everyone wants to get to the 5K.
Yeah, of course.
So they're going to get stronger. If they're going to get stronger, what happens to the muscle? The muscle grows.
Yeah.
But if you don't stretch it, then you're going to go, it's like the guys that go to the gym.
Shorten.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so then they walk around like that instead of doing their stretching. That's the only reason you see the guys at the gym like that, is because they don't stretch. Okay? They just want to go big. It's just a line of force. So if this force is really tight and it's pushing on more to one side than the other, then what's going to mean is that once you're running and then it relaxes, it's going to click.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah? So like, it's tight.
So she needs to be rolling her quads then, does she?
Yeah.
Need to loosen that off, and that might stop the... So,
you don't want
roll
to
your quads.
Yeah, you don't use it on your knees. You use it above your knees, like through your thighs. So it's part of the routine. You just want to use it all the way through there. To releasing the tension, that goes down.
And then that will release the tightness on the kneecap, which will stop the clicking. Achilles problems. David Schultz, I think that's how you say it, David Schultz, I apologise if I'm saying it wrong. He said, how can I protect my Achilles tendons? And if they start hurting, what should I do?
Okay, so we go back to again, so most of the answers are going to be with the foam rolling after the runs. But the Achilles tendons, typically, I'll put it like that.
That's it, get your legs out, Dan.
Get my legs out.
Yeah.
This is your gastrocs. Yeah, so your Achilles tendon will start from here and attach all the way down to here. Although the pain typically is right here. And again, with the quads, it's the same thing. Your knee pain normally happens under the knee or over the knee, and that's because your muscles are very tight. Same is happening to me. So my question back to him would be, are you increasing your running? Are you doing more hill reps?
Yeah.
Yeah? Are you doing sprints? Because what you're doing is, you're putting your foot position more forwards.
Yeah,
so once you
put
put
more pressure on.
Exactly. You put more pressure on running forwards, and you're going to stretch your Achilles, so the demand's going to be a lot greater.
So to maintain Achilles, it's fine to do the hill sprints and the sprinting and that,
for sure.
but afterwards it's even more important that you need to be rolling those calves out, don't you?
Yeah.
You need to be you need to work those calves nice and loose so that they let the pressure off of the Achilles tendon, okay?
Yeah. One of the things that can happen is shoes as well. They're going to change their normal trainer for something new, and it has a different type of support. That could have caused that.
So if, say I've gone to a sweatshop and bought a nice shiny new pair of shoes, I should be keeping the distance down to start with, should I, while I settle into those shoes?
That is a good idea.
Right,
that's a good idea. If the shoe is exactly the same, you shouldn't have a new pair of shoes and go and do a long distance run because you haven't broken the
So even if they're the same make and model, they're not broken in properly. But in my experience, it normally takes about 2 weeks.
Yeah,
if you're running 2 or 3 times a week, it takes you about 2 weeks to be like an old friend. So my advice is, if you find a pair of trainers you really like, stick with that brand.
Yeah.
Stick with it, because you know you'll spend forever trying to chase the same feeling that you've already got. And it's not about a fashion statement, although it's nice to have nice coloured ones and stuff. It's about what will protect your feet the best and give you the best results for it.
Just going to the shoe part, I think when you're buying shoes, one of the most important thing is always try to get half a size bigger. Because what's going to happen is when you're going down those hills, if your shoelace is not really nice and tight, what's going to happen, your toes are going to hit the bottom of the shoe, and then it'll give you the black toenail.